Hello, I'm Frank Clark, student with American Military University, Management 615 Strategic Planning class. And this week's assignment is an ethics news story, and we'd like to go ahead and spotlight Wells Fargo. In September 2016, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau fined the bank Wells Fargo $185 million for its involvement in an unprecedented sales practice scandal in which the bank created 1.53 million fraudulent savings, checking, and credit accounts without clients' consent in efforts to increase their business and sales goals. They took personal information from existing bank customers, acquired products for those bank accounts that were never requested, with fake phone numbers, fake email accounts, fake PIN numbers, and took money from active accounts and transferred those to fake accounts. Small business owners paid the price too, and a notable example is when they would open a business account, such as a money market account. The result would be 7 additional accounts on top of their primary account, with charges left for the customer to pay. Employees, to include managers, were coached to bump the sales and cover their tracks in the system in efforts to hide fraudulent activity. For example, employees applied for over 550,000 credit cards, which generated finance charges of customers that were unaware of the activity. Thus, they would dispute these charges and with delay, which in turn damaged their credit. Another example is Wells Fargo had illegally repossessed over 400 vehicles while the U.S. service members were deployed overseas. Also, former employees alleged in court filings that bank workers had targeted Native Americans, college students, and immigrants in the country illegally to open unwanted accounts in their name. In addition to the fraud customers suffered from all this, there were penalties paid to employees who had both conducted unethical acts or following orders, and those who challenged their employer for being unethical and illegal with their sales. All of this resulted in firing 5,300 employees from 2011 to 2016, including the whistleblowers who had contacted their hotline, their ethics hotline, which they were recorded, and they reported unethical and illegal behavior. Aside from this scandal being a brand killer, it leaves many consumers becoming victim of damaging credit, lost monies, and ultimately lost in trust and confidence. According to Time magazine, during a Senate committee hearing in September 2016, CEO John Stumpf referred to their Wells Fargo vision and values document, which this introductory remarks quoted, unquote, "Wrongful sales practice behavior in our banking retail business goes against everything regarding our core principles, ethics, and our culture. It runs counter to our vision of helping our customers succeed financially, and it does not represent representative to Wells Fargo as an institution. And we never directed nor wanted our team members to provide products and services to customers that they did not want." Stumpf accepted full responsibility, yet he didn't resign, and although he was fully accountable, as he said in the Senate committee, he forfeited much of his 2016 salary, including his bonus, and $41 million in stock as the bank launched an internal investigation. It only took him a month after the Senate committee hearing to retire from Wells Fargo. So where does Wells Fargo go from here? Are the board of directors held accountable? Who has the one throat to choke now? Well, CEO John Stumpf resigned and retired in October, and the board of directors immediately handed the reins over to the CFO, the chief financial officer during the scandal, Tim Sloan. So the CFO is now the CEO, and he was CFO during the scandal. So since the changing of the guard, Wells Fargo has refunded $2.6 million to account holders who were impacted, and potentially another $2.4 to be paid out, $2.4 million. In April 2017, shareholders voted to keep all 15 board members in for at least another year. In the Omaha World Herald on April 26, 2017, it was quoted that since the $185 million fine, the bank has changed their way to pay branch employees, reclaimed compensation to several executives, and apologized to customers. It was also published in that article that lawyers suing Wells Fargo say that the bank may have opened 3.5 million unauthorized accounts. Yesterday, it was published in Los Angeles Times that Wells Fargo may have created 1.4 million more unauthorized accounts than we thought, dating back to 2002 and may have opened millions of unauthorized checking, savings, and credit accounts for over the last 15 years. The common denominator of this activity began with cross-selling. It's a method used to sell multiple products to consumers. Senator Elizabeth Warren interrogated John Stumpf at the Senate committee hearing about cross-selling, as she indicated through her research that the average bank customer has at least up to 3 products, whereas Wells Fargo created an additional products totaling an average of 8. And she was quoted that the saying in Wells Fargo and in John Stumpf's 2012 annual report that 8 rhymes with great. So who wins in all this? Customers who have been victimized by radical sales culture and cross-selling strategy, and employees who are working in a culture where unethical behavior is acceptable, yet some took the initiative to challenge their unethical practices were terminated from their position. All this is a brand killer, and the last thing any company wants to be is on the headline news for not doing what they're supposed to. There must be an increased need for ethics and social responsibility, and some believe Wells Fargo, if they had it and lived by it in their strategic planning, perhaps they wouldn't be in the predicament they're at today. They retained all their board members. They promoted their CFO to CEO. They terminated employees who challenged its practice and values, and now they're unveiling some more fraudulent accounts that were exposed. So all in all, trust and confidence is lost with some of their customers and certainly with the public. According to LA Times, in March, customers applied for about 200,000 credit cards, a decline of 42% from 12 months earlier. That's actually an improvement from February, when credit card applications fell 55% as compared in the same month a year before. From blogger Buffett's Apprentice on SeekingAlpha.com, the quoted were saying, a $200 million fine for a bank that made over $20 billion last year seems like a round error, yet there are no new executives placed in any senior roles. It appears leadership from the chairman of the board down to the operational level, yet several others, i.e. customers, employees, and shareholders, paid the price, whereas those who led this demise paid no price, except John Stumpf, who only gave back the majority of his salary last year. It will take time for Wells Fargo to recover, but maybe even longer for those who were victim of this, inside and out. Thank you for your time.